All right, how y'all doing today? It is 6:02 on a Monday evening. Another edition of Monday Evening Rehab. We are trying to get over Monday Evening Rehab and let's go into some Monday Evening Recap, but we can't do it this week because same old. We got to talk about how our team blew it again. We got to talk about what we're going to do to fix it this week. I'm getting tired of fixing stuff. It's time to start winning stuff. Thank you and welcome into various groups today, especially the Atlanta Bird Gang. On my personal line, Steve Sports Talk and more on YouTube and on Facebook. If y'all get a chance, please go and check out my podcast, Falcons Fan Freestyle. Available on all platforms, iTunes, Google Podcast, TuneIn, Spotify, Anchor. Just check it out. If you just give it a listen. If you don't even like it, just give it a listen for a little bit. And if you like what you see, subscribe to it. Just let our thoughts hang out. And then we'll want to hear from you all today. Want to hear what y'all think about what exactly is going on in this organization. Not only what is going on, but why is it going on? I thought we were set up for a lot more success right now than we're having. And it seems like we're going backwards. So let's see what we need to do. Hey, how y'all doing? I'm seeing y'all come in here. Antonio, my brother, how you feeling? Brother Chauncey King. Chauncey, what is going on with you, my brother? He said, what you got today, bro? I wish I had answers, Brother Chauncey. I know I listened to you quite a bit in Back in Black Facebook group and just trying to see exactly what we need to do because I'm at a loss. I am sincerely at a loss. I don't know. It's easy for us to come with the, oh yeah, blow it up thing. But what is that actually doing right now? What is that actually doing? Ms. Camille says, I saw the Falcon game Sunday 27th. I was hoping they would win, even though I'm a Washington fan. Sorry to say that the Falcons lost. Yeah, I think we're all sorry to say that we lost. I mean, it is what it is. We are reeling right now. And so the general question that I'm asking today is, on a day like today, what is your fandom? What's your support for the Falcons? 2 back-to-back games. We're the first team in NFL history to blow 15-point leads back-to-back in different styles, different ways. We're getting creative. We're starting to get this thing down pat. There is no one that's going to be better at us than losing these games. So what do? I think the easy thing and the easiest answer is to get rid of the man up top. Dan Quinn, and I wrote something on a post, and I'll make it clear before I even start this diatribe about things we need to do to fix things and hearing what you all are saying about fix things. Listen, this is not personal. I like the idea of Dan Quinn. I like the idea of Dan Quinn when we knew Mike Smith was on his last limbs here in Atlanta when we lost the game in great fashion to the Carolina Panthers when we had an opportunity to win and be what we would have been a 7-9 division winner. And I remember them talking about Dan Quinn and how he was this, players coach and rah-rah and stuff like that. And we hadn't had that here. We really hadn't. Closest we came was probably Jerry Glanville. And that was a different type of rah-rah. Jerry Glanville, needless to say. And when he came in, it was infectious. We all fell for it. Don't act like we didn't. Don't act like you were different. Dan Quinn came in, preached the brotherhood, brought everybody closer, got folks playing for each other, got the fans to buy in. And we all went in. I mean, we all went in on it. And now where does that leave us? Now, we're 0-3. We have scored the 4th most points in the NFL this season. The 4th most. That's the 4th more. The 4th most points in the NFL. Yet, we are still sitting here at 0-3. Waiting for some type of miracle drug to be given to us so we can get through this. I don't know what the answer is. I know some of the things I could think about. Think about, did we make the right decision with keeping Dan Quinn after the Super Bowl? I don't know. Marquette says, time to blow it up. Antonio says, easy. Here's the real reason. Who will we get after Dan is gone? And will we take advantage of all the talent that we have now? And that's another thing when you start talking about Dan Quinn, and I'm reading his biography because I truly think his days here are numbered. When he came in, it was the coach we needed. It was the type of coach we needed. We kind of had a little bit of straight lace with Smitty. Smitty was no nonsense. Smitty didn't joke around. Smitty was definitely more serious. And really, when you think about it, Smitty was all about trying to get the team to just focus on one thing, and that's being workmanlike. And those teams that we had in Atlanta, if you remember, those teams that we had in Atlanta, they were, we had solid teams. And I go through it again. For those of you who are just joining us, Matt Ryan, first year off, 10-6. Last year, 9-7. I mean, not last year. The next year, 9-7. Missed the playoffs. He was hurt 2 games. The next year, 13-3. The fool me year. The year Aaron Rodgers came in here and destroyed us. The year after, 10-6. Then the Giants ran roughshod on us in that first round. Backed it up with another 13-3 season. Took it all the way to the championship game. And then to have that culminate in 2 bad seasons from the team, a lot of injuries and things like that. So here comes the knight in shining armor, Dan Quinn, from the defensive coach of the Legion of Boom. A group he actually inherited more than he started from scratch. And like I was kind of going between with another guy when we were talking about it, Dan Quinn couldn't bring the Legion of Boom with him. As I was talking to somebody earlier today about hiring Eric Bieniemy from Kansas City, and I asked him, I said, why Eric Bieniemy? Hey, man, you look at that offense, you see what they're doing? I said, yeah, I see what they're doing. Now, with Eric Bieniemy, does Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, Tyreek Hill, the little young kid out of LSU, do all those guys come with him? Because if they come with him, I'm down. But if they don't come with him, I can't sit here and pretend like that's going to be the end-all, be-all answer. And before we start talking about who we're bringing in, let's look and see what they really have done. I know the Monday morning quarterback answer to Kyle Shanahan leaving is, oh my goodness, we should have kept Kyle Shanahan. We should have let go of Dan Quinn after the Super Bowl. Let me ask you a question and keep it real. Keep it real. What team fires their head coach after losing the Super Bowl? I'll wait. What team fires their coach after the Super Bowl? Nobody. So that particular year, to go back in time and say that was done, I didn't see all this fire and brimstone about firing Dan Quinn in 2017. Stop lying. We were talking about how we were going to be better and make that next step and win the Super Bowl. Nobody was talking about firing Dan Quinn. Shoot, some of y'all wasn't talking about firing Dan Quinn in 2017. When we were a play away from beating the Eagles. Nobody was talking about that then. So give me real answers and real solutions on who should be the next person that comes through here. That's what I want to hear today. I'm going through some of these comments. We're going to hook up the phones here in another 3 minutes here, and we'll take your phone calls at 1-877-747-2346. Again, y'all check us out on YouTube, Steve Sports Talk, and also in the various Facebook Live groups to join the chat today. Marquise says it's over. I knew it before the season started. These last 3 weeks just confirmed it. George Watson says DQ's time is over. Need to move on. Better do it now than ride out the whole season. Antonio says Eric B for president. I agree with that, bro. But would you leave Kansas City right now? Dexter said, let's go out and get Rex. And I'm sure he's talking about Rex Ryan. I'm not sure if Rex Ryan would take the job now. I don't know if he would. Brother Travis, what's going on, man? How you feeling today? Sad here as usual. Starting to get to that same old, same old. Now, what do we do this time? So it's absolutely crazy. So take our first call of the day. Caller, how you doing? Identify yourself and thank you for joining us.
My name is Dexter.
Hey, what's going on, Dexter? How you doing, brother?
I'm all right, man. How about yourself?
I'm hanging in there. How's it going? First is 24 hours later. This show is called The Rehab. Tell us how you feeling from yesterday and now on to today. Obviously, you're hot when the game is over. 24 hours later, what's your feelings on this team?
My feeling on the team is everybody thinks that Queen should be down. I do too. But clearly yesterday, that game was not on that Queen. I don't think he should be here, but I don't think that game was on him. If you look at the way the game played, players for being places to make plays, and they didn't fit it. You got a drop interception straight through Oliver hands.
Yes.
You got a 35 drop by Hill.
Yes.
And we started to hold these blocks, though. Then that forced us to make a kick in a long field to this. And if people want to be physically, man, they really should have blown it out that thing. Because if you look at that game, man, Nick Foles really thrown 5 touchdowns in a quarter and a half on that defense.
Wow.
You got the interception. They called it touchdown. They called it that for an interception. If you count that as a touchdown, that's one. The drop pass in the end zone is 2. And the 3 that he used to win the game with. That defense, Bobby. I know we came in the game, missing a bunch of starters and we lost a few. But man, you look at that team like San Francisco, we don't lost players way killer than where we don't lost, and they still hold their opponents close. It don't matter what quarterback out you get on, we don't stop nobody. High school college man.
And that's something you have to think about. The GM at San Francisco, John Lynch, who was basically a rookie, a novice coming into that, he's done a much better job of building at least his team. As a great point about San Francisco, to the point where you can put your second strings in there and still win the game. Nobody's going to feel sorry for you for injuries. Nobody.
Yeah, I agree with that. That's why for a couple of the players that we even brought in the offseason, I'm a fan of. Dante Fowler, the year he had was blue. He played beside Aaron Donald, who had defensive player of the year. You had Clay Matthews on the other side, who had almost 9 sacks and missed a couple games. And if people pick up and read more, they talked about a lot of Dante Fowler plays for either when he was unblocked or he just hustled to get set. He don't beat nobody and just dominate a game. Them 11.5 sacks he got. And the Falcons always seem to go out and get players that say they want to color of when they down and out. I didn't even want Gurley. I wanted Carlos Hyde. I think the money that we gave Dante Fowler, we could have got us 2 defensive impact players instead of giving him $16 million. He was already up on a lot of salary cap stuff, and you're going to dump a lot of money into one player like he going to fix the problem. Basically, he's just the opposite of Big Beasley. But if you're going to use the little money that you get a chance to open up to clear space, you got to use it wisely. Don't go get washed up players. Gurley have clearly lost the step. I know that offensive line ain't blocking good, but that ain't the Gurley that we see. He going down with one man hit. When one man hit him, Dante Fowler ain't beat nobody. And them two are the highest paid player that we paid coming in the season, and we ain't getting the type of production we should be getting for the money that we gave them.
You notice it was I let you go because listen, there was nothing you said that I don't have a thought about. I mean, those are some excellent points that you brought up. The last thing I do want to say before I let you go, the question of the day is at right now, as far as your support for Atlanta Falcons. I'm always going to ask this because this is one of those things where I would I just want to know how people are feeling. 1 to 10, where are you as a Falcon fan?
I'm a 10, man.
Okay.
We can go 0-16.
Okay.
I'm a fan. I'm just disappointed in everybody else about how we've been playing, man. Because I gamble a lot. If they compete, with that's my team. I got so much fast tires, but I'm a fan. It's in my heart.
And
the way they play and the way I feel sometimes after the game, you'll never hear me going that time I'm running in my other stuff and I'm not going to be with them no more. I'm a fan.
There you go. And nothing wrong with that. My brother, thank you for kicking us. Thank you for kicking us off, man. I truly appreciate that, man. Please call me back, okay, brother?
All right, thank you.
Thank you, man. I mean, look, everything he said, I mean, it's legit. And the problem that I have sometimes is that, wow, the fans see some of these inconsistencies and shortages. Why aren't the coaches seeing this? And yeah, there's always a backstory. There are things we don't know that's going on behind the scenes. Absolutely there is. But, we there's something missing. My wife was making a point. She said we ought to call Ayala, was the Fix Your Life, the lady who turns everybody around, get Dan Quinn and the rest of the coaching staff in there and start talking about that. I mean, it's crazy. But I can appreciate where Dexter was coming from his fandom. That's me, man. Y'all, you're never gonna have to ask me about my fandom. I'm 10 rising. That's probably why I feel it so strong. And I always want to hear from the 10s. I want to hear from the 10s. The 5s and 6s are interesting to listen to because sometimes those are the folks that you want to just ask, if you're that disappointed, not disappointed, if you want to burn your stuff on your good Weber grill, knock yourself out. But that's not going to be me. I'm sorry. Caller, how you doing? Identify yourself and welcome to the show, man. Thanks a lot.
Steve, what's going on, man? It's Anthony.
Anthony, my brother. What's going on with you, Ant? Everything good?
Everything good.
Man, talk to me, man. 24 hours later, obviously you haven't jumped off the bridge, which is great. So tell me what you're thinking about this franchise, man. 3 games in, we were promised we weren't going to get a slow start. We are at a slow start. Tell me what you're feeling right now as a fan.
Steve, it's like that old movie. What's that? Groundhog Day.
The Bill Murray.
He keep waking up. The clock's still flashing that same time. He keep playing that same old song. He goes through the same thing over and over and over and over.
Wow.
That's these last 3 games, man.
It's frustrating, isn't it?
Very.
I was listening to Dexter right before you came on, and he brought out a couple of things. So just tell me from your observation as a fan, because listen, obviously they don't listen to what we have to say, but I'm going to listen to what you have to say. What are a couple of things that's just burning you about things that we are doing during this losing streak that you could just say, why can't y'all see that? What are a couple of things that's just on your nerve right now about that?
I think for me, it's the in-game adjustments. Like, as you can see with Chicago, honestly, I think Chicago has like a skinny playbook. There's a lot of formations. You saw a lot of the same formations. They ran a lot of the same plays twice. Route combinations. They ran a lot of the same stuff over and over again.
Right.
So as a defensive player, DB, lineman, whoever, if I'm seeing the same thing over and over, and you're not getting it to the point, like even as a coach or defensive coordinator, whoever, if I'm not seeing that.
I'm looking at the coach kind of funny. And then also you have to take into the account of accountability. Now, granted, I know we stand at our, skills position when it comes to corners, linebackers, whoever. But if you're not playing good, you shouldn't be out there on the field playing right now. So, i.e., for example, Oliver, if he's not playing good, I need to put the next best player out there that can actually try to make the play and, actually give me some progress out there on the field.
And piggybacking on what you're talking about, think about Denard was brought in at the last second. Who played the best cornerback yesterday during the game? You see what I'm saying? So, and also piggybacking on another thing you said, in-game adjustments. What was the biggest in-game adjustment overall in that game yesterday between both teams?
Between both teams?
Yeah.
When Chicago put in Nick Foles.
So again, you are not only well-spoken, but you're brilliant too. And it didn't take a genius to figure this out. And I listen, I'm not giving you a Mensa test on this. You're just saying that if your coach sees that there is something that's not working, he was willing to say, you know what? I could care less what the media, fans, and I'm going to make a change that's going to help me win the game. And he put in Nick Foles, and the first thing I thought was I had flashbacks to that playoff game at Philly. Right. Because I know Nick Foles has the fortitude to lead a team to a victory when he needs it. And he came in there in less than, a little bit more than a quarter, threw 3 touchdowns, and led his team to a victory.
And not only that, Steve, you look at it this way, Nick Foles coming off the bench, so there's really no pressure for him anyway.
Zero. If they lose, who cares? He said in the interview yesterday, I wasn't quite ready for that. He said in an NFL interview after the game, he wasn't quite ready. So that tells you that he didn't mind playing against a JV high school defense, which I'm sorry, that's the level that they're playing right now. He didn't mind playing against a JV level defense and coming in there and throwing 3 touchdowns. And remember, he threw the interception first.
Right.
So it's crazy. And one more question before I break off, and thank you for calling. So from 1 to 10, where's your support right now as a Falcon fan? And just keeping it 100. Where you at?
It's still 10, man. Yeah. I'm just mad I can't talk no trash.
Let me tell you something. That's the toughest personal part about this. Last week, I was hurting so much because there's so many fake Dallas fans in this whole country that I was just ready to explode on them. And then this week with this Bear team that has no business 3-3-0, to let them do that just kills me, man. And thank you, man. I appreciate you calling, man. Thank you so much. Call back, please.
I appreciate it.
Thank you, sir. Yeah, the trolling part, man, that's personal with fans. That's straight personal. Not to be able to wave your flag, to say rise up, to say, hey, what's going on with your team? Y'all suck. Listen, we can't even go in on New Orleans yet. New Orleans has lost a couple of games, but we can't say anything yet. Not yet. Because we're not winning anything. We look like an 0-3 team trolling a 1-2 team. And that's New Orleans. I look forward to talking smack to them. Absolutely ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Hey, Lisa, how you doing? She says, Arthur Blank must have forgotten what he said on that call with season ticket holders. he said that if the Falcons got off to a slow start, people would be held accountable. And I'm looking at blank like this. I hear you 100%, Lisa. I was on that call too. And actually, I had a conversation with my wife about that exact same thing. I'm going to get back to that in a second. Caller, how you doing? Welcome into the show. Identify yourself.
How you doing, brother Steve? This is
Markeith, my brother. How are you feeling today? How was your day, brother?
It was okay. How about yourself?
Man, I cannot complain. I am blessed. I am here. All right, we 24 hours after the game, man. I know you are not even going to ask about your fandom because I already know where you are. But from this game, from yesterday at about 4:30 to right now, tell me how you feeling about the state of this franchise.
I mean, I'm not confident in it, man. It's just I'm really not confident. Even if we brought a new coach in here, that we could get anything done. I think the talent really has reached its ceiling. To be honest with you, I think Matt's talent, it's reached its ceiling. I think Julio's talent reached its ceiling. Probably the only person that's gonna get like exponentially better is Calvin.
Yeah.
You know,
Calvin has definitely made his, and you said something important right there, ceiling. I would go as far to even say, I don't even know. I think we're regressing quicker than expected. I think with Matt yesterday, I'm not going to go on the popular Matt's messing up the whole game and all of that stuff. But I will say that Matt did have a couple of opportunities yesterday. The line, yeah, we fell a little bit, but that was the best defensive line we've played. And I'm sorry, say again.
Not to cut you off.
No, you good.
About Matt, and yesterday, I mean, he played an okay game up
Yes.
fourth quarter.
Right.
And somebody, I was listening to the, I think 680 The Fan this morning. Matt took the hit. That point on, Matt, when he took that hit, he was off target. Like, that sideline throw to Ridley, that short throw, and I'm missing another one. But Matt was off target. So he kept throwing the ball, which made no sense.
Right.
That's it. Like, when your offensive coordinator sees that the quarterback's not hitting the target, hey, we need to run the ball.
You go to the jumbo package and you run until they can't stop you.
We gained 140 something yards on the ground yesterday.
Yeah.
And that was probably the best running game we had in a while.
Oh, absolutely. Without a doubt. Without a doubt it was. And you have to do that to protect your quarterback. Run game not only helps in the passing game, but it helps protect your quarterback. Matt was getting rocked after the throws yesterday. And to your point, you're absolutely right when you say he was off after the hit he took.
Yeah, he was off. And it's just, I just think just yesterday was, I mean, it's all, last season's really has been a microcosm of the franchise, going back to the Super Bowl. But I think it's just where we are at. And I think we need to look into trading our assets. Julio, I don't think Matt can be traded, but I think Julio, I think we need to probably try to see where we can get Julio. And just go from there. I don't know, who else we can unload. But we need to make a change, man. We need to make a change from top to bottom. That includes Dimitrov. He got to go. Yeah,
Dimitrov. There's nothing redeemable right now in keeping Dimitrov on the squad. And like I said, I don't think I have to ask you, Markeith, but where is your fandom right now from 1 to 10?
I wouldn't be calling this show if I didn't.
Because I'm going to give you drama if it's not.
I love the team, but it's sad to just see, like, I thought after the Super Bowl we would even get better, like we would keep building. And like you said, we regret it. Like, There's really nothing to be excited about week to week. And especially now, like, there is no playoffs. 0-3?
Right.
Just watch the line. If you just love football, you love the team. So, I love the team.
And that's pretty much the mantra for Falcon fans this year. Markeith, brother, I appreciate you. Please keep calling back. Please, we like it, and try to keep spirits up, brother.
For sure.
Thank you, brother. That's where we are. To be a Falcon fan is tough right now. It's tough. And I don't know what you have to do to explain that to Mr. Blank and tell him, dude, you are losing the faith of your fans right now. Caller, how you doing? Thank you for joining us today, and identify yourself for us.
You already know who it is, Steven. It's Gregory, man. I tried to catch the show the other day, man. I was so upset, man.
I didn't see your message until later because, the basketball game had started, and I was already into the basketball game. Brother Gregory, okay, so we haven't had a chance to talk since I'm gonna throw you all back to the Wayback Machine and start right after 4:30. And tell me how you felt then, and then lead up to what we need to do today.
Man, it's being too much of a repetitive thing. We haven't gained our footing since 2016, man. It looks like we can't hold a lead since 2016.
Yeah.
I mean, this is my thing. Dan Quinn is a good person. I got to give it to him. He's a good person, but he's not a good coach.
Yeah.
You can't afford to go 7-9 twice and then 0-3 starting the season. That should be your head right there. And you got to give him the flowers, because remember we talked about this before, Steven. I talked to another guy that's in the group now. His name Quintez Hope. He does.
Oh yeah, Quintez. Oh yeah, I know. Yeah.
We talk all the time, even not even in live. We talk all the time. Speaking on the football aspect, I said before the season even started, according to Oliver's play last year, he has no business being a starting. And who made plays that I called out?
Let me tell you something. I'm gonna tell y'all right now. Gregory told me prior to the game that Bleedy Ray was gonna have a good game, and Bleedy Ray should be starting in that position. And I don't know. I didn't gloss over you when you said it, but I said okay. And Gregory made he made mention of it during the half. He sent me a message and say, Steve, I told you he did. And he did. I need him to break that tackle from Trubisky, though, and run that touchdown. I do need him to do that.
He's an upgrade from Oliver.
Oh, very much so. Very much so.
Every time we get a lead, every go-ahead touchdown to put a team back in the game is on move.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Oliver is not having the same. And Gregory, I know you've been around to listen to me talk about this. Oliver, I wanted to have faith that the progression we saw last year was going to continue. And I don't know why anybody wouldn't think it would, because, when you saw some of the things that they were doing, your thought was, okay, this is going to get better. But we've regressed back to 2018, which is ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't understand that.
We even got a rookie that's sitting on the bench, Jordan Miller. We even need to give him a try. I'm telling you, he would be a better option, man, than Oliver. Oliver's giving me a headache, man. I'm telling you, Steve, I bought some alcohol before that game. The last 2 games, man, I just ain't even drinking that this weekend, because these last 2 games go give me cirrhosis of the liver.
Well, brother, you came to the right place. You came to the rehab, man. That's what we doing here, man. We're trying to get you off that Thunderbird and bring you back down so you can get some Alka-Seltzer and come down.
Before you cut me out, before you take me out, realistically, though, man, I think that Quinn he's just not it, man. That's my thing. I talked to somebody about this the other day. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and over, expecting a different result. That's the definition of insanity. And if we can't see that the defensive thing is not working, it is not working. How many examples do we need to show that it's not working?
I think we need to give an offensive-minded coach with the weapons that we have an opportunity. And I'm pretty sure everybody in the Bird game agrees with me, man. You done tried defensive-minded coaches twice. It's time to give an offensive-minded coach a shot, man.
I can't remember. Wasn't DQ supposed to be the defensive mind that took us to the next level?
What? It makes absolutely no sense for a defensive-minded coach to be our head coach, and we can't stop a nosebleed on defense.
I'm gonna give you one more bonus right quick, Gregory, before you leave, because I had a discussion with somebody, and again, I'm not putting. I wish I had his name. I can't remember. Morton, I think, was his last name. And when we talked about people that would come in, and I keep hearing about Airbnb. And listen, I remember Airbnb at Colorado. So my going back, I know it's history. But here's the thing I keep telling folks about the Bieniemy thing. Right now, Bieniemy looks like a genius. You know why? Because Bieniemy probably has the number one quarterback in the league, arguably the best tight end in the league, arguably one of the best young running backs in the league from young cat from LSU. And then you got the most exciting wide receiver. I say it exciting, not total package, but most exciting wide receiver in Tyreek Hill. Once you bring Bieniemy here, unless he's bringing Justin Fields with him, and you're basically doing the same thing that they did with Quinn. They gave Quinn's resume was based on coaching Sherman and Chancellor and Thomas. So what's your thoughts about somebody like him coming to take on? And I'm not putting doubt on him.
That's my thing, and me and Quinn Hope spoke about this before, and he absolutely agreed with me.
Okay.
The only Achilles heel that Dirk Carter has right now is Dirk Carter is still living in 2008.
Yeah.
What you did in 2008 is not going to work in 2020.
That's true.
If we gonna take that option to go the offensive route, we need a creative mind. You know, maybe somebody like Josh Daniels would be a good choice.
Now that's a good.
Yeah, I think what they would do, they would have the option to mix it up. Like, okay, even as bad as people saying Dirk Carter is right now on offense, we still make touchdowns, we still make plays. Now take that same pieces of that puzzle and give to somebody with a little bit more creative. Just for example, like Shanahan did. He was creative with the offense.
Right.
If we take a creative-minded coach to go in there on the offense, I think we'll be unstoppable. Look at the game we played with Dallas. Even with Dirk Carter, we scored 39 points, man.
Yep. That wasn't defense scoring. That was offense scoring.
That was all offense.
That was all offense scoring. And it makes a big deal. Greg, I appreciate you, brother. Please call me back, man. And I'm sorry I missed your call again yesterday, brother. But
man, I love talking about football, especially when I got to do with my team. I watch all football. I ain't just speaking out the side of my neck, man. I love football. I know football. And what really kind of upsets me in the group is you have a lot of people in the group that always talk about what we need to do, but can't tell the difference between a man, a zone, a slant, a run. They don't know nothing. And that's the only thing that upsets me. If you go speak on football, know the game before you give your aspect, because a lot of times I don't even comment on posts because the stuff they say looks foolish as I don't know what, because they don't know the game.
Well, you got a lot of pom-pom carriers here, so unfortunately, you got to mix some of that in there with folks that actually know. But I got love for you, brother, and we're going to catch you later on down the line, man. Please call me back, okay?
Man, I'm going to call you many chances I get, man.
Thank you, Greg. You have a good night, brother.
Man, let me get back watching the show, man.
Thank you. Hey, man. Oh, man. See, that's what I'm talking about. You like to hear the passion of folks that are still into this thing, man. This would be easy for a lot of folks to actually jump off the bandwagon and just give up on this team. But there are folks that actually are invested in trying to make this team better and have a lot of ideas. Caller, how you doing? This is Steve. Welcome into the show. Please identify yourself.
Yes. Hey, Steve. I'm Johnny. From Essex, man. I was giving you a call, man.
How you doing, brother? What's going on with you, man?
Well, no much. I just want to say this, man. I mean, me, I'm a diehard Falcons fan, man. I've been watching the Falcons since I was a kid, man. When the Falcons wasn't even on the game. You know what I mean? Like, as far as the Falcons wasn't even on TV, I used to go home and listen to the radio.
There you go.
You know what I mean? As far as our season going is, Dan Quinn has to go. You know what I mean? He has to go because we have too much talent on the team for us to keep laying eggs.
Right.
We are making history for all the wrong reasons. And I will say this, as far as Arthur Blank, nice guy, cool guy, but he's destroying this franchise. What I mean by destroying the franchise is he's too nice.
Right.
Clearly, this guy is not it. And then I want to say something to the Falcons players too. The players spoke out on the media talking about, oh yeah, we stand by our coach.
I was watching.
When you stand by your coach, then do the job on the field. So to me, just like my older brother told me the other day on the phone, he was like, Johnny, they have to say that. Because they can't just go out on the media and say, oh yeah, we need a new coach. So they're doing it professionally.
Right.
The team don't have no confidence. They do not believe in the old brotherhood slogan. That right there is the aftermath. That should have had. I'm going to tell you something. If Arthur Blank, if we win against Green Bay too, if we lose against Green Bay and this man still has a job, then I'm not blaming Dan Quinn anymore. I'm going to blame Arthur Blank. Because he is the boss. So you like mediocre stuff? You remember when Atlanta United, they won a championship then next year, that same coach can get it done, and he fired that coach like that.
In a heartbeat.
In a heartbeat.
And that was a one-year coach, too. Because remember, the other coach left to coach the Mexican team, and then he brought in Frank DeBoers. And Frank DeBoers came 1 year, and he said, enough of that.
Right.
Let me ask you one question, and you pointed it out earlier about the players, and I'm paraphrasing because you didn't say the words, but it sounded like this is what you were saying, the brotherhood slogan or whatever. I was talking about this earlier to another group. In 2015, you could argue that might have been needed back then. Do you think, Johnny, we're at a point where maybe that has just played out? For the 2015, 16, and 17, that was great. That was the camaraderie, the I play for each other, whatever. But when you're getting losing records in a row and you're starting off games fast and not finishing, doesn't that mean that the message is not getting through to your players? I don't care how talented you are.
Yes, absolutely, Steve. And I agree with you because I was looking at the Falcons practice and stuff like that.
Right.
And I was looking, and the Dan Quinn was doing it, like, come on, let's move fast. If you look at the players in that practice, they're not even moving fast. They're not even interjecting. So, you know what I mean? To answer your question, the whole brotherhood slogan is played out. It's played out. They over it. They are done, completely played out. And I will say this for number one, it's that number one. As far as burning the jerseys, I would never do that. I would never burn my jerseys. I would never take nothing. I believe the Falcons, they couldn't get on TV with the blackout. And I used to run home. I remember I'm 38. I remember I used to run home in middle school and elementary, run home just to hear it on the radio. So I would never do that. But if Arthur Blank was paying attention, because I'm 38 years old, I never seen any Falcons fan burn anything on social media. I don't care how sorry it is. Right. Watching it is, and they never did that. So if I think Blank's paying attention, if you're looking at fans doing this, you need to make a decision because you're going to lose your fan base. And they talking about open up on October 11th to have people in the dome. And me personally, I really don't. Just to send in a message. Like, we're not going to keep sitting here paying our money to watch this. It's not about the players. It's the head coach. Because we know we got talent. We have one of the most talented rosters in the league by far. So it's not the players, it's the coach. So I will say this, me I mean, how big is my fandom? I'm a die-hard Falcons fan. That would never change.
I don't think I had to ask you that. I could tell by the passion in your voice that you are somebody. And just for the record, when you talk about burning of jerseys online, though, don't get me wrong, I know some of those folks probably are mad. That's, I think, what the kids these days call thirsty, which you're trying to get attention for yourself for all of that, because you don't need to. I'm not burning. How much an average jersey cost these days?
I paid $150 for my really jersey. I paid $100 for the jersey. I'm not burning, even though. Let me tell you something, Stephen. I hate to cut you off.
No, you're good.
You know what I mean? Like, literally, I'm a Falcons fan.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I would never burn. I don't care how sorry it is. I would never burn my jersey. But you know what I mean? I'm looking at both sides of the picture. You know what I mean?
Right. Right.
Off the blank, let me tell you, I'm 30 years old. I never seen anybody burn a Falcon jersey, and we were sorry than this. So off the blank, you look at it like, this is the first time that I have seen it from my fans. You need to understand that people's not fed up with the players. They're fed up with the coach. And when you got a coach calling first down, second down, and another coach calling third down, and then you got to get approval from the head coach, they go to show you is that the team does not have no chemistry, and it's not the players, it's the coach. Because I never seen a coach call first down, second down, then the other coach call third down. And he's using Raheem Morris as an scapegoat. Because technically, Raheem Morris is not even the defensive coordinator.
Right.
It's still damn good.
Right. And that's ridiculous. To your point, who does that? I haven't heard that in Little League, high school. I've never heard of that before.
Never heard of that.
Johnny, my friend, I appreciate your call. It was refreshing, brother. Hang in there, man, and please, man, keep up with us, man, and call me back. Hopefully, we're gonna get us a win down here, so we could talk about a win somewhere down the line. But I appreciate you, man.
All right, no problem. You have a good day.
You too, brother. I mean, and he said some good things about that. And one of the things when you talk about this home game coming up, that they're opening up the stadium to have fans come in, it makes you wonder, what's the expectation going to be for this team? As diehard as I am as a Falcon fan, I'm sitting here trying to tell you, the biggest message you can send right now to Arthur Blank is to not go to that game. And let him know, pandemic or no pandemic, we're not going to sit up here and just accept this futile effort that we're getting out of the team. And I'm not saying individually these guys aren't trying their best, but what I am saying is you got to give us something to come to the stadium for. Caller, how you doing? This is Steve. Thank you and welcome in. Identify yourself for us, please.
Hey, Steve, brother. How you doing? It's Tidy, man. What's going on?
What's going on, brother Tidy? How you doing, man? Congratulations on your realty success today. I almost wish I would have caught up with you before we bought this house right here. That would have been a fun interaction to do with you. I know you probably deal with some folks down here in Henry County. I know you're in Macon, I guess. But that would be fun to deal with you on that end, I would imagine.
Hey, thank you, Steve. When you buy your beach house or your second or your third house, give me a ring. I know how you do this.
Oh man, you're wrong for that, brother. I watched you yesterday, man, and I saw the hurt, I saw the disgust. Just elaborate for those who didn't get a chance to talk to you yesterday, and tell us where you are today as far as the direction this franchise and the silence from this franchise over the last 24 hours about what happened.
Yesterday, like 98% of all Falcons fans, after the game, after watching our team, blow another fourth quarter big lead, it gets to the point where it's depressing. You get disappointed, you get frustrated.
wide range of emotions that you go through. You know, after just saying the same thing, with the Atlanta Falcons. So, so I was real frustrated, pissed off, everything under the sun. But today is a new day. I had time to sleep it all, think about it. So today, hey, you get up and you fight. It's a brand new day.
Yes,
let's go.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's what you have to do. I mean, and listen, I this is not self whatever, but I on the podcast I spoke about Falcon fan freestyle. I spoke about Arthur Blank's reaction to what's going on, because as folks, some fans, we kind of get into ourselves a little bit thinking, well, get rid of Arthur Blank. Well, you can't get rid of the person who has the money and who owns the team. But there is something to say about Arthur. I just need to hear from you. As much as I hate Jerry Jones gets in front of that radio mic every week and tells us how he feels. As a fan, how does it make you feel to lose such historically blundering games, and yet it's just about radio silence? I know he came out a little bit last week, but after this week, that is radio silence from the man who has the controls.
I mentioned that yesterday, Steve. I think we've got into a point where we just need to hear from Arthur personally.
Right.
We don't want to hear from his publicist, a media release. It don't even have to be an on-camera visual interview, but hey, give us a sound bite, Arthur. You're one of the most powerful people in Georgia. You probably are the most, as far as power goes, most powerful person in Atlanta. So if you want the voice to be heard amongst your fans / consumers, just say something to us, Arthur. Just let us know you're watching. Let us know you're not pleased with the direction of the team and the direction of the franchise. And I think that would mean a lot to a lot of people also, just to hear from, the boss of the Falcons.
And you make a great point, because Arthur Blank is always off the field on the right side of what's going on externally, as far as he's been on the forefront of the social injustice. He's been on the forefront of just acknowledging that the players have a voice. He was one of the main people when they had the last strike. They mentioned his name as the owner who came in and said, "Let me talk to the players and see what you got." So it's two different sides, because we appreciate that as an owner, but now it's personal. Now, Arthur, it's just us. We're in the room with you. Can we hear a little bit to hear that your disgust matches ours? That's your turn.
I'm sorry, I cut off and then keep repeating.
Look, man, you need to get some AT&T, man, and you can't go around with prepaid cards like John Harris, man. Y'all be walking around with them cheap cards. You can't do nothing with that, Tiny.
Don't pick it up with cricket phone, man. But were you talking about Arthur? I called.
I apologize. Yeah, I apologize. All I was saying was, with all the things that Arthur has done off the field, with the social injustices, the being in front as an owner who speaks out for the players, and being interactive with what they're doing off the field, being that owner that came in a few years ago when the strike was possible and saying, "Hey, let's get this done." Now it's us personally with the fans. So why can't we get that same intimacy now than that we got 5-6 years ago?
I totally agree. And you mentioned this not long ago, but I'm not one of these people that fire Arthur Blank. Arthur, you need to sell the team.
Right.
I think Arthur is extremely smart, intelligent, and he's very calculated. I did see today when the press release came out and said, "Hey, the Falcons still plan to keep Dan Quinn as the head coach." I do remember, and excuse my terminology here, but I remember Blank also gave Smitty that kiss right before
You know what? He did. That's right. You're absolutely right. I remember that. You're absolutely right. That was the year. That was like a few games before we lost, right? Before we, yeah. But you're absolutely right. And recall if I recall, no, we fired him after the Carolina game. Actually, after that playoff game, the one we played New Orleans and we upset them, and then we came home to play for the division against Carolina, and they wiped us off the mat.
Right. And right before that, he gave Smitty that same signature of confidence.
That's true.
When you knew it was time to pack the bags. Right.
You know it, man. Listen, before I let you go, I was having a conversation. I don't know when you checked in and stuff about if, let's just say hypothetically, Dan Quinn leaves, and I keep hearing Eric Bieniemy. And what the point I was trying to make to somebody earlier on one of the posts is saying, yeah, Eric Bieniemy is going to remind me a lot of Dan Quinn. When you're on Kansas City and you're the offensive coach of Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, Tyreek Hill, the young brother from LSU, Sammy Watkins, it's a lot easier. Your resume is going to look great. But unless you're bringing those guys here to Atlanta, I want to see what you can do with scrubs. I'm not trying to be funny. Kyle Shanahan came to Atlanta with, Lord forgive me for talking about your boy, but a Roddy White who was on the downside, Devonta Freeman who was just like his second year in, Tevin Coleman who had just been drafted but hadn't reached his potential yet, a throwaway receiver with Taylor Gabriel, and turned that into also Sanu, free agent coming in from Cincinnati, and turned them into one of the most prolific offenses ever. But that's more impressive to me than what Eric Bieniemy would do. I know that was a long-winded question, but what's your thoughts on the next coach coming in? Would it be somebody like Eric Bieniemy or somebody who's just an X and O guy that can get things done?
I'm on the same side of the street as you as far as that goes, Steve. Eric Bieniemy, he's like the 2020 version of Dan Quinn right before we hired him, I think in 2015.
Yes, sir.
Seattle was just coming off Super Bowl appearances, which one of them they won and the other one they gave away. So Dan Quinn at that point in time, he was the hot name. He was the hot name. He was the pretty girl at the party, but you didn't know what her personality was like in the inside.
Yes,
and that's kind of what I see with Eric Bieniemy right now. I mean, as you just mentioned, unless you're going to give us Pat Mahomes, Tyreek Hill, running back from LSU, so that doesn't mean you're going to come over and have the same type of success with the Atlanta Falcons. And you brought up a key point with Kyle Shanahan. And I said this in the group, I think earlier today. I want us to go out and find that new coach. One thing that I have had an issue with the Falcons lately is we all, and I know the NFL is a copycat league, but we tried to be the next Seattle a few years ago.
Right.
We brought Dan Quinn in and brought a lot of Seattle players in.
Yes, sir.
Now a lot of people want us to be the next version of the Kansas City Chiefs. We don't have that same personnel in Atlanta. 4 years from now, we're going to be, oh, man, get rid of Bieniemy, fire Bieniemy. Go out there and do your due diligence this time, Arthur. Get some real smart football people behind you. And don't worry about using any kind of computer to hire your coach. Do some real due diligence, Arthur. Make a great football decision. And don't necessarily go out there and get the hot name. Go find somebody who's doing a lot with a little bit of nothing. You get Patrick Mahomes on your team, that's 10 wins automatic. 10 wins, automatic, Patrick Mahomes.
Yes, sir. Practice. Brother, preach, man. I appreciate you. Y'all know Toddy's the admin in the Atlanta Bird Gang. Y'all make sure y'all drop him a line in there. He'll drop some Red Cup Chronicles in for you, even though he probably been working too hard. He ain't been doing it as much as he normally does. I don't get a chance to enjoy it as much. You got to get back on the stick, brother.
Hey, it's all good, Steve. And all them fake wannabe Falcon fans, burning his jerseys, we don't need.
Oh, man.
You ain't never doing. You ain't never trying to get likes and comments on social media to get to Facebook. your Instagram and your TikTok and all that BS popping. I see through all the BS, y'all. So keep running your jerseys. If you're really done with the Falcons, you'll be done with them silently.
I just told somebody else, I said, that's what the young folks these days call thirsty. Because that's all they're trying to do. My brother, I appreciate you, man. Thank you so much for calling in, brother. As always, I appreciate it.
It's a pleasure, Steve. Thank you very much for taking my call.
Thank you, sir. That's tidy, man. You're not going to get much better than that, man. You know, and the Bieniemy thing, it's not hate on Bieniemy. If you listen to what we were talking about and what he was saying was, Dan Quinn came from that Seattle defense that had all of the folks that, and really he didn't take over the DC job until the year after they won the Super Bowl. He was still a D-line coach on that team when they won the Super Bowl, but he didn't take over as DC until the next year. And on that year, that's when they had still Sherman, they still had Chancellor, they still had Thomas, they still had Michael Bennett, they still had Averill. They had all those guys. But when he came to Atlanta, he didn't have all of them. And surprisingly enough, the only great defense they played, there was a 18-game stretch where they played defense. All of 2017, they played really good defense. I have to give them credit, 2017, but that was the year we also had Marquell, y'all help me remember his name, Marquand on here running the defense, but they said Dan was running it behind the scenes anyway. But if you're not bringing those players with you, then, you know, what's the use? So you start thinking, do you want a true mind, somebody who is actually a good X and O guys. Manuel Moss, appreciate you, brother. You want an offensive mind, not just a name who was with names. And that's the thing that scares me about Bieniemy, to say, would he be still having this success if he didn't have those weapons around him? I hadn't heard Bieniemy's name mentioned before 2017. I hadn't. I mean, I knew more about him and still know more about him when he was with Colorado than he was now. So, I mean, that's just, I don't know. Marquis says, was Bieniemy the coordinator when Alex Smith went to the playoffs with Chiefs? You know what? I think he was if Andy Reid was there, because he came with Andy Reid. So he might have still been there. Still had Kelsey. Not sure they had Hill, though. Perry said, Perry, how you doing, brother? DQ on not being fired, not surprised to me at all. Paul Pfeiffer says, man, these damn people burning up these Falcon stuff are fair weather fans. They need to send their stuff. I'll pay for the shipping. I'm ride or die. And you know, Paul, it was a young lady who was on Daniel. Daniel is one of our guys in the Bird game who comes in quite a bit. And there was a young lady on his feed that went on her cursing tirade. I guess that's what you do. You get a lot of curse words. I guess listen to a Rich Pryor tape. Get a lot of curse words. Get a stack full of. And I'm gonna tell you, she burned a lot of stuff. And I sent a message to her on that same thread and just say, listen, next time before you do that, call me and let me know. I'll pay for some of that. She burned a Julio jersey, a Ridley jersey. I think it was a hat in there. Just all kinds of ridiculous things. And I know we're at an age where your popularity is determined by how many people push a like button and stuff like that. But stuff like that is just attention getting. And I just don't get it. I guess the generation, I guess I'm an old fogey when it comes to stuff like that. To me, that means nothing. It's just you trying to get somebody to say, oh my God, look at them. Pretty ridiculous to me. I'm not burning anything to prove anything to anybody. Totally ridiculous. But yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, Paul says she burned the signed stuff. That's right, because she said on the thing she had a Matt Ryan signed jersey, which I actually got a Matt Ryan signed jersey today, and I can guarantee you this: that's not going anywhere on that. But yeah, it's what this is a tough time for fans because listen, at 0-3. First time we've been 0-3, and I can't remember what it was. I think it was 2007. I'm not mistaken. That's the year Mike Vick got into trouble, and we weren't able to do it. And speaking of which, let me go here because I don't want to. Because anytime you start a Mike Vick conversation in this group, it's one of those things that just infuriates me. Because someone told me yesterday. The Falcons are 0-3 because they didn't treat Mike Vick. No, they didn't apologize to Mike for treating Mike Vick bad. And folks like that, I couldn't see her bio and all that stuff, but this is absolutely ridiculous that we're still harping on the Mike Vick mess 13 years after he left. Thank you, Kendrick. That's 2007. I appreciate that. That was the year. 2007. Thank you, brother. 13 years ago, we're still harping on that. And without reading anything, I could be wrong. Let me see if I can remember. We just signed him to a $100 million contract. He was 7-9, if I'm not mistaken, 7-9 or 8-8 coming off that year. He was doing some illegal stuff. He got in trouble. He went to jail, and we had to move on. So I just don't understand why people still harp on that. That's amazing to me. I don't get it. I don't get it. Derek said dummies are burning their stuff, not people. Yeah, that's true. Epic says lost audio. I hope my audio is not lost. I don't see it. Y'all let me know if y'all can still hear me. Hopefully you can. Perry says people put their emotion on the game that most of us wanted to play as a kid. It's a kid's game, not that grown man. It's a kid's game that grown men play. True enough. I hear you. That's absolutely true. I know it's tough right now, but at some point you do have to move on. And I have a 24-hour rule. It's not going to apply when I see all these folks at work because they're going to troll me anyway because I'm a Falcon fan. But after today, you got to move on to the next week because I tell you what, you can mess around and sulk about the Chicago Bears, but the 3-0 Green Bay Packers are sitting there waiting for us this Monday night. So this is a national chance for us, and you know what the national story is going to be. I'll probably be able to make a bet on how many times they're going to show that onside kick against Dallas, how many times they're going to show the comeback of Nick Foles, and how many times we're going to see a montage giving more love to Tom Brady about what they did in the comeback in the Super Bowl. And that's the kind of stuff you get when you're 0-3. And I don't know what it's going to take to turn this team around. I am still of the belief that Dan Quinn is over his head right now. He's saying all the right things. AtlantaFalcons.com got a chance to see the press conference he gave today. He's not making excuses. He's owning what's happening. A lot of the players yesterday pledged their allegiance to him and said that they are behind them 100%. I mean, what are they going to say? I think as professional players, it would look foolish of you to go out and say, oh, this coach sucks, I'm not going to play for him. So they're doing the right thing. But what direction do we go? I don't know. It's going to be tough, but somehow we have to get past this stink that we have right now with the franchise. There is this Green Bay game, we would go 0-4, which we're going to have a possibility. I haven't even seen the line yet, which I'm actually scared to look at. But I'm going to look and see right while we're sitting right here what the line is on that game. And I don't see it right now. But I'm pretty sure that's at least a 10-point line going to Green Bay. The over-under would be great to play. Tell you that. But we have to get ourselves together and get over all of this going on. A lot of injuries yesterday. Injuries are no excuse, but you're missing your starting wide receiver. Gage went out, head injury. Let's hope and pray he gets back on the field. A little bit of good news. It sounds like A.J. Terrell, the young man who tested positive, it sounds like it may have been a false positive. They have they took 2 tests. The reports are he took 2 tests, and both of those tests came back negative. So he might be right back on the field next week. And that's one of those things, hopefully, with this testing, we'll be able to get right. But sounds like might have been some false positives in there, and we'll be getting A.J. Terrell, thank God, in the back into the mix, because we're going to need him. My brother Walker says, no, we're going to score some points, just lose by 3. All right, good luck. I listen, I hope so. I wish I had something to be more optimistic about, but I truly hope we do. Steven says, what do you think about the theory that Blank is just too old to start over? He's almost 80 and hopes that Quinn can just right the ship. If he hires a new coach, he may be after 80 before we actually contend again. I mean, that's a logical theory. I would have to believe that he has folks in his family, as most owners do, that are probably ready to take over if he feels like he can't do it at a certain age. I would think he does, Steven. But legitimately, I understand what you're saying. Maybe he's just still loyal to a fault, and he's thinking that Quinn will take this 0-3 start and make a run. Listen, being fanboy, and I'm gonna be fanboy for a second. After this Green Bay game, I know if y'all have listened to me, I'm just saying it again. After this Green Bay game, we have Carolina, 0-3 Minnesota, Detroit, Carolina, and Denver. By some miracle that we could sneak a Green Bay win. Again, I'm not putting money on it. But if we could sneak a Green Bay win and win 3 out of those next 4, it could get interesting. NFC South's not running from us. New Orleans, hey, if it wasn't for our epic fails, most of the national news would be about New Orleans. New Orleans is playing horrible. But as I alluded to earlier, hard to troll New Orleans when you haven't won a game. At least New Orleans won a game. Can't even go to my Saints fans. I'm like, hold on. Can't do it. At least not yet. Epic said, I call it right now. We will beat Green Bay on Monday night. I promise, mark my words. Epic, you made a fan out of me. I hope we can. Perry, thank you, sir. Walter says, me too, but I can't trust these coaches. I'm sure all of them have been called to the great mahogany room that Arthur Blank has. And I'm sure that they're telling them right now, y'all need to get your stuff together. There's no way we should be 0-3 with the last 2 games we played. Absolutely unacceptable. You can't go back and get them. But it is what it is. Folks, I appreciate y'all joining me today. Thank you for another edition of Monday Night Rehab. I'm ready to have Monday Night Recap. We'll have it when we finally win. Hopefully we can get one in the next week. But I got a feeling we're going to go over September. Well, we already are over September because the next game is in October. So hopefully we can start October in another fashion. If you all get a chance, check out my podcast, Falcon Fan Freestyle. It is available on all the podcast platforms, including iTunes, including Google Podcasts, Spotify, Anchor, TuneIn. Check it out. The one just released this morning has a recap of the game from yesterday. Some thoughts on Arthur Blank and what he should think about doing. You guys check it out. Subscribe, please. Free. Let me know what you think. Y'all send me a line and tell me what you think about the podcast. And tell your friends and spread the word. Also, check me out on Steve Sports Talk and More on YouTube. I have the same filming we have going on here that's on YouTube. Check it out. You can check it out during the week. I will be back with a preview on my Falcon Fan Freestyle podcast and also one live either Friday or Saturday. I will let you know in the Bird game exactly when we come on. Until then, you all have a great night. Absolutely fantastic game coming on tonight. Kansas City against Baltimore. Patrick Mahomes, man, that cat is real good. Let's see how that's going to end up this week. Congratulations to the Miami Heat winning the game, being able to go up against the Lakers. I got the Lakers in 6. I think Miami might sneak a game or 2, but I don't think His Majesty LeBron is going to lose this opportunity to have his legend grow even more. Again, y'all have a great Monday night. We'll see you. Thanks again for joining me here. And until again, rise up.